y'all. Pam here with Be Creative Crafts, and welcome to Off the Hook. I am your host, Miss Pam. You don't have to call me Miss Pam. When I was in high school and college, I coached gymnastics, and that's what all my little gymnasts called me, was Miss Pam. All right, we got a few people already in chat, so let's go over here. There's Mr. Rudy. Welcome in. Hello, Miss Samantha. She says she's working on a half double crochet blanket for Boggy Creek. Nice. And a 2-bit granny square blanket also for Boggy Creek. Well, fantastic. Hey, Miss Angel, welcome in. Mr. Rudy, Nancy's not in chat yet, but please don't ask people to type specific things. He says, are you lucky on the year of born? And imagine if me and my father switched birth years. That would be different, kind of like Freaky Friday. Hey, Miss Kimberly. Okay, so we got Miss Kimberly here, so that means hopefully Mr. Gentry is watching as well. And so, y'all, let's give a big old shout out. Happy birthday to Mr. Gentry. Happy birthday. Hey, Miss Lisa and Miss Tammy. Hello, hello. All right, y'all, so what are we going to be working on tonight? We are going to be working on the small rectangle and the square sections of the Crocheted Jericho. Now, it was brought to my attention earlier today that maybe y'all might not realize that this is a join-as-you-go project because I don't like sewing things together at the end. So I like to work it. If I can find a way to work it all at one time, I'm going to do it that way. Kind of like with the granny square. Like doing a bunch of granny squares and then sewing them all together. That's not my favorite thing to do. I like to, when I'm done, I like it to be done. I don't want to have to sew everything together. So let me see here. We got some more people coming in. Let me go back over here to the chat. People are saying hello to each other. Hello, Miss Karen. And there's some happy birthdays for Gentry. And Gentry says, thank you. You are so very welcome. I hope you've had a great day. Your cake looked delicious. It looked quite yummy. All right, I think I've got everybody. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working on these. I'll show you. Now, y'all, this yellow, okay, like right here, that yellow looks, that's about the shade of yellow. It's not that bright yellow that it kind of looks like in the video. Like right there, it's a butter yellow. In the picture, it looked like yellow. But it's not that bright. Okay, so what we're going to be working on is we're going to be working on, hey, Jonathan, welcome in. Tammy said, oh, no, Lisa says, going to the bushes. Okay, so we're going to be working on a square section. Y'all know I had to pick out the orange one. Right, I'm just kidding. No, so we're going to be working on a square, and then we're also going to be working on a small rectangle. So I'm going to go ahead and flip my camera. I'm going to add myself back up to the screen here. Let me flip it first. Let's turn this one off. Flip it. Whoops, wrong one. Oh, shucks. That, whatever camera I just selected doesn't exist. I don't even know why it's there. Okay. Turn this back on. There we go. Okie dokie. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta add me to the stage. I forgot. Hold on. That way I can look at y'all over here. I'm afraid to touch this camera. Maybe if I turn you this way, which way do I need to go? That way. It's gonna fall again. I had it perfect. I should have just left it alone. It just won't stay where I want it to stay is the problem. I don't know why. Raw. Messed it up. Hold on. Okay, let's see here. Why will you not stay? It's just hanging down. I don't know why it won't hang. I don't know why. I think it's maybe because my phone is like top heavy. Me too, phone. Okay. All right. Move my little sign out of the way. Okay, so first I'm going to be working with black yarn, but just while we chit chat, so I'll go over the small rectangle a couple of times just because I'm going to go ahead and do it in the black, but then I'm also going to do it as a join as you go. This camera, y'all, we're going to try it one more time to scooch it over. There we go. Okay. But I'll tell y'all what stitches I'm doing. I do have the playlist linked in the description box below for all of the videos. I've done it in, let's see, there's going to be 5 parts total. 4 parts have already been released, and I did each individual section as its own standalone video. But parts, if you watch part 1, 2, 3, 4, that's all the parts. The other parts, the breaking down the wall, is just in case, like when you get to like row, when you get to like the 3rd repeat, you're not going to have to watch the whole entire tutorial again. If you just need a refresher, you can go just watch the rectangle, or go watch the large rectangle, or just go watch the square, just to refresh your memory on what the stitch sequence is. So, anywho, all right, so for the small rectangle, you're going to start with 2 rows of single crochet, and for the color block sections, oh, and then I moved this camera. And for the color block sections, your stitch count is going to be 13. So we're just going to do 2 rows of single crochet. So what has everybody been doing? What is the weather like where you are? Today was absolutely gorgeous here. It wasn't too bad. Like when I got off work, it felt really nice. Now, yesterday was hot. Day before yesterday, I think we hit 100. Depending upon where you were, I think my high temp here at my house said 98, but at my parents' house, they hit 100, and I think they said Nashville hit 103. So really, it just depends upon which weather channel you look at. But as far as the thermometer at my parents' house, I think they hit 10. They either hit 100 or 101, but I know they hit triple digits. So there's Gentry. He said, thanks, everyone. And he said, the cake was amazing, but super rich. Well, you know, that's what you need. Cake is supposed to be rich and delicious. And because it's rich, then you eat a smaller piece, and then it lasts longer. Hey, Cats Gallery. So we had 98 in Southern California. Woohoo! That is warm. I know it was 98 here Wednesday. I know it was at least that, but now the thermometer in my car, like when I went to lunch, was at 99. So I feel like it got hotter than what the high temp was. And y'all know that with my temperature blanket, how the Weather Channel, the temps changed. So this time what I did is I printed it out. And then I'm going to wait, because by the time I get to August on my temperature blanket, I'm sure that those temps are going to have changed. So I probably won't be using that one again. And they've also like revamped as weather.com. They've revamped their whole website. So I feel like they've just been doing upgrades, and so it's got it all out of whack. Because where their monthly or where the almanac was is not even there anymore. It's like, I don't know. So like I said, they're redoing it. So Gentry, what kind of cake was it? Because in the picture, it kind of looked like carrot cake with cream cheese icing. At least in my mind, that's what it was. It may not be what it was, but in my mind, that's what it was. Can y'all see this black is so... Do y'all need me to zoom down just a smidge? Let's zoom you down. I don't know that it's going to help because the black is just so dark. It can't even focus in on it because it's so dark. Come on, focus in. Turn off the autofocus. And Ginger said, that's exactly what it was. Because that's the best. I love a good carrot cake. Come here, Yarn. One of the best places to get carrot cake used to be, do y'all remember Quincy's Steakhouse and Ryan's Steakhouse? They both had really good carrot cake. Because you'd go through the line and you'd pick out your dessert as you went through. Miss Kimberly said they're expecting some storms to roll through momentarily. I read that in my mind. I don't know if I read it out loud. So if I read it out loud, then now you got to hear it twice. But I don't know if they're still calling for storms here this weekend or not. Probably. But We did have some rain earlier in the week. And now this one keeps moving on me. Trying to stay centered. Okay, so we've got 2 rows of single crochet. And now we're going to do 3 rows of the Suzette stitch. So for the Suzette stitch, you work a single crochet and a double crochet in the same stitch. There we go. I moved the blanket so you can see that little opening right there, that little hole right there. You're going to work a single and a double. Miss Kimberly said, one of these days, she said, I will have to make you my banana pudding cake. I love banana pudding. So okay, and now it's dark again. So then we're going to skip a stitch and into the next one, work a single and a double. And don't worry, we're going to go over this again because the square and the small rectangle don't take very long. So after I do this one, I'm going to grab the other project and show you how to do the small rectangle again. Hey, Robert, he said, can I get a whoop? He didn't say that. I'm saying that. He said, hey, Pam, whoop, whoop. Do, 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 do. But I love banana pudding. So banana pudding cake, I bet would be delicious. And banana nut muffins, also delicious. Chain 1 and turn. And then you just repeat that row, single and a double in the first stitch, skip a stitch. And what you're doing is you're working in the single crochets from the row below. So you're skipping the double. You know what? We're just gonna talk while I do this, and then I'll just show you on the lighter because I knew this was gonna happen. I knew that you weren't gonna be able to see the black, but I wanted to try it anyway. Because I need to get this one step further so we can do the square. But the thing with the square is it's the same stitch sequence as the gauge swatch that we did a couple of weeks ago. So, but this weekend, totally changing subjects. This weekend, one of our neighboring towns has a fair and they're going to have a beauty pageant. So one of my nieces is in the beauty pageant on Saturday. So we'll be going to that. So that will be my Saturday, getting her ready and doing her hair and all that kind of fun stuff. I don't know if I will stay and go ride any of the rides, but I may have to get a funnel cake because, you know, it's the fair and funnel cake at the fair is the best. Smother, like get that powdered sugar all over it. Yeah, buddy. And there's a restaurant over there that I haven't eaten at in a while, so I may eat there if it's open. Hopefully it will be. And I don't know if y'all can see my cheeks turning red. I still haven't found the remote for the fan. I wonder, since it has a remote, like I wonder if I could figure out what brand it is. I know where I bought it at. I bought it from Lowe's. So like I wonder, you know, there's like an app for like a remote for your TV. So I wonder if there's an app that I can use for the fan. Although I wouldn't have it on during the live anyway. Okay, let's see. How many rows have I done? 1, 2, 3. That's 3. Okay, so we're going to chain 1 and turn. And then work 2 more rows of single crochet. But I told y'all a couple weeks ago, I did figure out why it's gotten so, and what I don't understand is why it's only recently been affecting me, but it's these lights. It's all of the lights beaming down on me like the sun, making it hot. So I don't know why it's that, unless it's just because it's summertime and it's also hot outside. But I don't remember. Well, I wasn't sitting at this spotlight. Well, where was I? I was trying to think. How long have I had this desk, y'all? How long has it been sitting here? I don't remember. So I do know, even though both of these yarns here are Red Heart Super Saver, it seems like the black is a little bit thicker. It's either thicker or it's because it's a little bit stiffer. It's making it a little bit, I don't know, can y'all see how this is a little bit wider than this? If that's the case with the yarn that you're using, don't stress it, because once you start doing your mortar row, it's gonna work out a few of those little imperfections and tension differences. Now, if it's greater than, if it's a big difference, then you may have added an extra stitch or lost a stitch here or there. But if it's just a tiny bit, the mortar rows are going to help fix that. So, all right, so I'm almost done with this one. Then we'll cut the yarn, and then I will grab the other project, and I'm going to be working on the Scrappy project, and I'll show you how we join it as we go. And then we'll come back to this one to do the square. This way you can see how to join as you go. And if anybody is working, anybody's doing this tutorial, if you're stitching along with me and you have any questions, please feel free to just ask me in the chat. Just be like, hey, how did you do this? Or let me know. I don't mind answering questions. Let me show y'all that right there. See how this is? It's just a tiny bit, not much, just a little bit wider. So it is all good. Okay, so we're going to set that over there. I'm going to zoom you back one, because I should have seen this one. Okay, so this here is my Scrappy blankie. So this here was one of the colors that I used in the Jericho. This is the mint tea. And then some of these others are just, this might be the linen here that I used. And then other colors that I've used in this are just random colors that were in my stash. This one is the Red Heart Super Saver Ombre. Green apple, I think is what it was. And I've got this in here a couple of times, but because it is ombre, it looks like it's different. Looks like different yarn. This one here is in the tutorial. This is the Shocking Violet. But anyway, okay, so let us join the yarn. Okay. So this was one of our granny squares that we did back in December when I was practicing doing different borders. So, and joining as I go, we are going to attach that, and we're going to use that and hope that I have enough yarn to be able to do a whole small square. I mean, to small rectangle. If not, then oh well. And this yarn, I don't know if y'all can see the sparkle in it, is the Red Heart Super Saver Metallic and white. And it has the clear iridescent-y strand that runs through it. So to me, it looks like snow. It glistens like snow to me. I think it's pretty. It's one of my favorites. Hey, Mom, welcome in. It's one of my favorites. So my mom was saying on her video when she watched part 4 today, she got a big long ad. I watched it at work and I did not get that. So I think it's just, and the settings are all the same. So I'm not sure why. Sometimes the advertisements just do their own thing. And it did not freeze up on me. So it may have just been something going on with YouTube this morning. Alrighty, so I just added my new color, and then I'm going to chain 1 and turn. Now all I'm doing is I'm just flipping it back and forth. Kimberly said she got some ads, but nothing too long. Yeah, she said hers were like 2 really long ones that were like infomercials, and it didn't give you the option to skip, because I went and looked, and it should have been you should have been able to skip after after just a little short time. But anyway. All right. Can y'all see good? Am I close enough? Okay, so we're going to do 2 rows of single crochet. But for the join as you go parts, on this end away from the blanket, you'll chain 1 and turn. As you come up to the blanket, I'm going to show you how to join it. The main reason I did it this way is so that when you're done, you're done. There's nothing left to sew. Everything is already together. Now, one thing I will suggest, if you are not doing the hybrid weaver's knot or a magic knot to join your colors, you're going to want to, after you do each color block row, go ahead and weave in all your tails. That way, when you get to the end, because there are so many color changes, when you get to the end, you're not going to have to then spend hours weaving in all of your tails. All right, so here we go. I'm back up to the blanket here. Now, this is the mortar row from part 2. So you're going to go into the next open single crochet on that row, and you're going to do a slip stitch. And that is going to attach the row that you just did. Go ahead and pull it tight because you don't want to mistake that for a stitch later. And it also, you don't want it to add bulk. So by slip stitching, because we're working the project, we're actually working it this way, and the blanket lays this way. Okay, so then you're going to slip stitch into the next open single crochet. So you'll do 2 slip stitches. So in the instruction or in the pattern, I do say 2 slip stitches, and that's what that means. So you'll slip stitch into the 1 single crochet, and then you're going to slip stitch into the next single crochet. This one you don't pull tight. You just leave this one at the height of a normal, whenever you normally do like a chain 1 turn, or the height of a single crochet. And then you're going to turn your work. The way I've been doing it is I've just been folding it back over. And then you're just going to work your single crochet all in each stitch all the way across. So your stitch count should still be 13. And then I'm going to go get caught up in the chat over here in just a second when I get to the end of this row. Actually, let me look over here while I'm doing that. Okay, so my mom says she had a total of 7 ads. 3 were the infomercial style and lasted 2 minutes each, and the other 4 were just regular. Yeah, see, I don't know why I did that. There's nothing in the settings. There's nothing different that I've done on that video than any of the others. So it must have just been one of those things where sometimes YouTube just does what, you know, the ads just kind of, you just happen to get long ads. Alrighty, y'all. Before I go on, let's go ahead and drop the Jeopardy answer. Okay, so we have moved off of old movies, which I was hoping that we would still have some of those because I really liked those. Or whatever the category was. They weren't old to me, but I really liked them. But anyway, so the category is now authors, born and deceased. It says born and died, but I know they don't like, anyway, I don't know. You know, the YouTube peeps are, when they pick up certain words, I think died is okay, but there are certain words that they flag. But anywho, so the category, let's go ahead and show this. Category, again, authors born and died. This little woman was born in Germantown, Pennsylvania in 1832 and died in Boston in 1888. She was young. So again, it said this little woman, and if you are listening and lurking in the background, Little Women is in quotes, was born in Germantown, Pennsylvania in 1832 and died in Boston in 1888. My mom said the infomercials were for 3 different weight loss programs. Yeah, I get those like at work and random stuff. Like if I have it playing like in the background. Anyway. Okay, so I just hit the camera. Okay, so now we're going to chain 1 and turn. Kimberly says, I love that book. It is a great book. getting situated here. And then now here is our, let me zoom us back down. And my mom also says Louisa May Alcott. I think she wrote Little Women, but I could be wrong. And I don't know, this white is almost as bad as the black. It's kind of blowing out. I didn't think about that when I grabbed it. I thought about the black, but not the white. Okay, so in this first stitch here, you can see it better than the black. In this first stitch, work a single and a double. So again, y'all, this is the small rectangle. Skip a stitch, and the next one work a single and a double. And the thing with the small rectangle, it's the same stitch sequence as you'll work for the mortar row. So once you get that stitch sequence down, you've got it. So you're going to work 3 rows of Suzette. So single and a double, skip a stitch, single, double, skip a stitch. And then when you get to the end of the row, you should have when you have 2 stitches left. Well, I'll show you when we get there. So I'm working my last single double combo. I have 2 stitches left. So I'm going to skip. Y'all can't see because I didn't hit the camera again. So you're going to skip a stitch, and in this last one, work a single crochet to end the row. Go to the next stitch on part 2, the next open single crochet, and slip stitch to join the row. In the next stitch, slip stitch, and turn your work. Got to get my yarn out from underneath me here, underneath the blanket. And then just repeat that for 3 rows. So you're going to have 3 rows total of the Suzette stitch. So now we're on row 2. Working a single and a double in each stitch all the way across until you have 2 stitches remaining. Single, double, single, double, single, double. When I was saying that in the tutorial, I kept saying it, single, double, and I kept hearing in my head, that's the Crystal Gale song. Wasn't it Crystal Gale? Sleeping single in a double bed. Ooh. Anyway, so that's what I kept thinking of. Every time I'd say single, double, that is the song that would pop in my head. Chain 1, turn. And when you're away from the blanket, you do your chain 1 and turn. So y'all, I don't know if y'all saw the video that I put out the other day, the little short of just me being silly. With it was kind of one of those like point of view. Angel said Barbara Mandrell. Was it Barbara Mandrell? When as a point of view, you oh yeah, Crystal Gale was Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue. Right? Wasn't that one Crystal Gale? Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So it was point of view when somebody tells you have too much yarn. And then I had Megan Trainor, I know you lie. So do y'all have any other songs suggestions that I could do little shorts to? Now some are available on YouTube and some are not. So if it's not available, I can't do it, obviously. But for the shorts, so y'all just toss out some songs that y'all think would be good. I've already got another one lined up that I recorded today, and y'all, I already told Kimberly I had on a black shirt, and I swear, like I looked down and it's just a black shirt. And then the sun was coming through. And when I was watching the video back, okay, so a little backstory. So I was in the car, I had just finished eating lunch, had Subway, dropped a little piece of lettuce right here on my shirt, and I wiped it off. I looked down, nothing was there. It was just my black shirt. Until I was watching the video back. And then you can totally see a big old like white stain here from where the mayonnaise was on the lettuce. even though there wasn't nothing there, like looking down, there was nothing there. And then there's like little white speckles. I guess it's just lint from the dryer, but it looks like my shirt has like white speckles all over it. So I'm trying to decide if I'm going to post it or if I'm going to redo it because it looks super bad. Like, especially if you know that it's there, you'll be like, girl. But anyway, telling on myself, but I used a different song. So y'all give me some songs and I'll write them down and I'll try to come up with different little videos or different little shorts to make up. I have a few ideas that I can't do in the car because I was like, oh, I could do this. Had a song in my head. I was like, oh, I could do this one and then use props at the house. Hey, Nancy. She says, sorry I'm late. No worries. Tammy's laughing at me. But yeah, like I didn't even notice it when I watched it before I even like saved it. Like I watched it, but I guess because I was in the car and it was just so bright, I just didn't notice it. But when I got home and watched it, I was like, oh my gosh. That's like when you go through like the haunted house and they have the black light and then they show your shirt and it's like, it's got all these bright, like you can see every piece of lint on your shirt. Well, apparently the sun was just doing that to my shirt today. Tammy says, not at all at you, but with you. Exactly. Yeah, because it was, oh yeah, okay, so I've just chained one to turn. I've just done my 3 rows of Suzette. So now we're going to do 2 rows of single crochet. And then that will be the end of our rectangle. Lisa said, got kicked off again. I will watch the replay. Okay. Yes. So I don't know who's live I was watching the other night. They kept doing that. Like it would go to a commercial. It would go to, yeah, I guess one of the commercials. It would go to the ad. And then instead of coming back, letting me come back in, it would just be like a blank screen. So I would have to go out, refresh, and then come back in the live. So I think they're just doing upgrades and making changes and that kind of thing to the platform. So, and when they do that, it just causes a few glitchy things, and they'll get it all worked out, and then everything will be back to the way it should be. Working my last row of single crochet going across here. And y'all, I think I'm going to have enough. I tried to count up my little granny clusters, hoping that I would have enough because I knew how many rows I was going to be doing. Sorry, y'all, for banging the hook on the table. So I was hoping that I was going to have enough stitches or have enough yarn, but y'all know how it goes. Sometimes my math don't be mathing. Let's see here. Miss Nancy said that happens to her when she's on the iPad. It'll go to a black screen after the ads. Yeah, and I don't know why it does that sometimes. But alrighty, so there we go. I just finished up the small rectangle. So I'm going to go ahead, pull that loop almost back out. Not all the way. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut my yarn here because I am using that hybrid weaver's knot. So follow up on that. So the sample thingy that I made has been washed and dried several times, and so far those knots are holding fantastic. So hopefully they will hold for forever. There it is, up in the little corner, up in the little circle. You can see the little rectangle that we just did. And this, like I said, this is the one that's my Scrappy one, so it's just going to continue to grow as I get more scraps. Okay, now let me grab my other yarn that we were working with last week. Got to put that back on there because it was on the floor. Maybe you didn't need to go over there. Where did you go? It got hung under the wheel. Maybe it did go there. I don't know. It's on the outside. We're just going to leave you be. Alrighty. And grab my project here. And we're going to add this. So the only row that's not join as you go, there's fuzz floating around my face. The only one that's not join as you go is this first row. Zoom me back. Is this one. All the others are join as you go, and all of the other color block rows, you're going to start with a chainless single crochet foundation. But this first one you can chain. But I do show y'all how to do that in the videos. So y'all just let me know. Like I said, if you have any questions at all, just let me know. Lisa says she knows and it's irritating. It is. Like I said, it was doing that to me, I guess a couple weeks ago. It was doing that. But I want to say I was watching it on TV. On the TV in the living room. But so there's no telling what's going on with it. But it does get aggravating. And then I'm going to trim my yarn off right at the little knot there. That's all the little waste I got. So, like I said, I'm liking this knot. But I've only been using it for a few months. How many months did we decide? Since February. So, I guess the months are going by pretty quick. So, I've been using it for a while now. And so far, knock on wood, nothing has come undone. So I'm hoping that this is a great knot to use. From other people that use the knot, they say they love it better. They like it better than the magic knot. And they have not had any projects come undone using it. So, and like I said, so far, the little test swatch that I did has been holding up great. I've been washing it it's been washed with towels. It's been washed with blue jeans. So it's not getting delicate treatment. It's getting the how I do laundry. It's going in with whatever is getting washed. It's getting washed with it. So, all right, the stitch sequence for the square. All of your color block sections are going to start off the same way, and that is they all start off with 2 rows of single crochet. So go ahead and do your 2 rows of single crochet. Your stitch count will be 13. And let me go over here after I do this first row, and I will drop our question to the answer. Miss Nancy said she is working on the Imkin's feet, and they are so small. I do still have my book. No, I put the book back on the shelf. I was going to say I still had the book sitting here, but I didn't. I put it on the shelf. Okay, so there we go. So for those that are listening, lurking, catching the replay, our Jeopardy category is, because those that are here in the chat and watching and looking, y'all can see it on screen. But I'll read it out loud for everybody. So our category is authors born and died. And our answer is this little woman in quotes, was born in Germantown, Pennsylvania in 1832 and died in Boston in 1888. And our question is, who is Louisa May Alcott? So those of y'all that said Louisa May Alcott, you are 100% correct. And Miss Nancy said, is that like Elf on a Shelf? It is. It's my Imkin book on a shelf. Okay, so after you do 1 row of single, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and do another row. So like I said, all of the color block rows start with 2 rows of single crochet. And the reason I did that is to give like a smooth section, I wanted it to give a quilted vibe, and I thought the single crochet is going to kind of give it a smooth texture as if you had stitched it. And then when you do the Suzette, it gives it puffs, so it looks like it's quilted. And I mean, quilted vibe is the way I keep wording it. It gives a quilted vibe. So, and I hope that it's not glitching out on y'all because up here I can see it like going out in and out, like the screen itself goes black and comes back, but I don't think, but it's not doing it over on that camera. So I think it's just on my phone. So I hope it's not messing up for y'all. And that gnat found me, y'all. He stayed away, and there he comes. Nancy says, so far, so good. Okay, good deal. Okay, so we just finished up our 2 rows of single, and now we're going to chain 1 and turn. Let me get this banner off the screen here, and let's zoom us back down one time. Trying to see if I can't remember. Okay, there we go. I was making sure I had the autofocus off. And turn. Oop, back to comments. And now we're going to do 4 rows of the Suzette this time. Instead of 3 like we did for the small rectangle, we're going to do 4 rows of Suzette. So that's the single and a double in the same stitch. Skip a stitch, work a single and a double. Skip a stitch, single, double, and work that all the way across until you have 2 stitches remaining. So by the time you are done making this blanket, you will know how to do the single or how to do the Suzette stitch. You will know it down pat, and you will hear me going single, double, single, double. You'll be like, we get it, girl, we get it. You work a single and a double in the same stitch. But yeah, because I say it a lot. Like a lot. But I have to, right? Okay, so we have 2 stitches remaining. We're going to skip a stitch, and in that last one, work a single crochet. Miss Nancy said, doctor appointment tomorrow, only 2 more months before the cataract surgery. Oh, yeah. I know you are ready to have that done, and it was disappointing when they put it off for so long. So now I'm going to do another, see, we got to do 4 rows total of Suzette. So just continue working that on, and we'll just keep chit-chatting while I work on this. So I'm on my second row. Let's see. Angel said her YouTube TV has been having issues, but the phone is not having issues. Weird. Like I said, I know that they've been making some changes and doing some behind the scenes stuff, so that's probably why everything's kind of glitching out. It seems to, whenever they're doing upgrades in the background, it seems to glitch out just a little, but they always manage to work it out and get it back to where it needs to be. Let's see. Lisa said, what is the difference between chain 1 turn and turn chain 1? Preference. Some do the chain 1 at the start of a row, like so turn and then chain 1, and some chain 1 and then turn. You can do either one you want. It's like I said, it's just personal preference, whichever way you want to do it. When I was taught when you get to the end of the row, chain 1, turn. But I don't think it matters. I think whichever way I've heard others say that if you start a project doing the turn and then the chain 1, whatever you choose to do that consistently throughout that project. But honestly, I don't know. I haven't tested it out. Let's see here. Nancy said she has been watching some videos of hoarders, and it makes me feel so good. I used to watch it back in the day, but I'm afraid if I watched it now, I'd be like, oh, that reminds me of me. Well, hey, Granny D. She says, hey, Pammy Pooh, I finally remembered, and howdy all. Well, howdy do to you. I was watching Miss Granny D last night for a while. Was it last night? Yeah, it was pretty sure it was last night. You were on at your house last night, right? Or was that night before last? See, my days get all wonky. I think it was. Okay. How many is that? 1, 2, 3. Got one more row. Chain one, turn. This is why you should have a stitch or a row counter, which mine is sitting in the living room. No, it's not. I take that back. It's not sitting in the living room. It's sitting in my bedroom because that's where I've been working on these. This is where I was working on it the other night because I had it sitting there because I was doing editing. I had my laptop. I had my project. Everything was all piled up on the bed. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3. Got one more. And Granny says, right? I'm sure I could be on an episode of Hoarders. It was Tuesday night. Okay. I couldn't remember. All my days, all the nights. You know how it goes. Y'all know. Y'all know how it is. Before I came live tonight, I popped over to Miss Cynthia's Joyful Creations. Over at her, she calls it her tea party. And I actually have tea tonight. It's in my Subway cup, but it's Milo sweet tea. Hey, Miss Susan, how are you? So after you finish up your 4th row of the Suzette stitch, we are going to chain 1 and turn. And then we're going to work 1 row of single crochet. Just like we did with our gauge swatch. It's the same stitch sequence as we did for that. Because it was a square, I figured that would be a good thing to do it on, is on the gauge swatch, or to do the square. My mom said the screen just froze for a few seconds on her phone. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it. 1, 2. And then on your single crochet rows, just make sure you have, that's a good row to make sure your stitch count is still on point. So you should, on your color block rows, have 13 stitches. So there's 3, 4. Let's see, Miss Grandy D says, I know, girlfriend. When you're retired, one day is just like the next. But I so love being retired. I can't imagine having to go back to work. Oh, I hear you. I am not retired. I do work, and they still all run together. It's like work, home, repeat. Plus, I've been doing so much editing, like editing, getting this tutorial out. But y'all, 4 parts are out. The only thing left for me to finish editing is part 5, which is the border. So, yay. Hey, Miss Sonja, welcome in. How are you tonight? And Miss Susan said she's good, thank you. Working on a Dodgergraph blanket. She made a baby blanket with that stitch for her son's sister-in-law and her new baby. Ooh, awesome. And I missed what Nancy was having because my chat jumped. Aw, thanks, Nancy. Let me go back up here in the chat and see what I missed. Nancy said she has some pomegranate blueberry tea in her cup. Ooh, yummy. And then Miss Lisa says she wants some. And then let's go over here to where are my videos. And this is for Miss Nancy. Makes me want to dance. Like just slow dance. All right, so we just finished up our 1 row of single. Now we are going to chain 1 and turn. And then basically we're going to work in reverse of what we just did. So we're going to end it with 4 rows of Suzette and then 2 rows of single. So we're just going to work it backwards. So 4 rows of Suzette. So you should have, for the square, you'll have 13 stitches across and 13 rows. So again, single, double, skip a stitch, single, double. And y'all, if you're looking for a stitch that's really pretty and easy to do, and is a 1 row repeat, Suzette stitch is your stitch. You get really pretty texture, and it's a 1 row repeat. All you have to do is make sure you're working in an odd number. You work a single and a double, skip a stitch, single, double, all the way across until you have 2 stitches remaining. Then you skip a stitch and work a single crochet in the last stitch. Chain 1, turn, repeat. 1 row, repeat. So, yay for that. So there we go. Just finished it off with a single crochet. How do I keep getting so far over? I guess it's when I turn to look at that other camera. Chain 1, turn. Whoa. And then repeat it again until you have 4 rows. But yes, it's a easy stitch. All you need to know is how to do a single and a double and chain, and you are good to go. Like Granny says, I like a 1 row repeat. And it's not a yarn eater. Lisa says, how many rows for the big rectangle? For the big rectangle, you will have 26 rows. And for the small rectangle, you will have 7. So once you complete a full color block row, you should have a total of 139 rows. So when you go back across and work the mortar and do a single crochet, you'll have 139. I found that it was easier for the first row of the mortar. I counted, let me show that. So when you work in the ends, like for here, I'm like, okay, that's going to be 7 stitches. So I made sure that I did 7 stitches across here, working in the ends of each row. And then when I got to a long rectangle, I would do the same thing, except I would count 26. And then I would do my 7 singles. And then for the square is 13. And then when I did the second row of single crochets, I double counted, made sure that my stitch count was 139. Because if you miss 1 or 2 stitches here, it's easier on the straight row of single crochet to kind of add a stitch or drop a stitch, stitch 2 together. You know what I'm saying? It's easier to adjust your stitch count if you're only off by 1 or 2, go up or down. But you need 139 stitches for the long rows. Good question. Okay, now let's see. What did I do? We are on row number 2, so I got to do 2 more. Chain 1, turn. Granny says, yep, I love the Suzette stitch. I made a blanket using that and it worked up so quickly with an anniversary cake and looked fab and was fun too. Yes, it's so pretty. It gives a very elegant look, I think. I like it. I also like the sedge stitch, which if y'all been watching the tutorial, I said sedge stitch like a bazillion times. And I don't know why, because I have not even worked with the sedge stitch in probably a year. I take that back. I did. Well, no, that was a year because she just had her year anniversary. The last time I did it was on my niece's blanket that I made for her wedding. But even then, I didn't work that up in a tutorial. So I don't know why I had sedge on the brain, but I just kept saying it. I'm like, why? So in the video, I had to every time I would say sedge, I would have to cut it, take the volume out, add the right word. Sometimes I just left it in there if I corrected myself immediately, because I didn't want people listening and hearing the wrong thing. But yeah, initially I had thought about doing the sedge stitch for this, but it would have made it, it wasn't working out for my stitch counts and it was making it too wide, and y'all know. Well, y'all don't know, but yeah, that's why I didn't do it, because it wasn't working out for the dimensions that I wanted it to be. But then I was like, ooh, Suzette stitch will work, and it's still texture, and it's pretty. And I really like the way it turned out. 1, 2, 3, chain 1 and turn. And if y'all haven't seen it up close, I will show y'all here in just a minute, because I've got it right here in the bag. I'll grab it and show y'all how it's looking. And I'll also show y'all the Scrappy one. I'll zoom the camera back, or maybe I'll just turn the camera back around and hold it up so you can see it. But I'm really like it. I really like the way that it turned out, if I do say so myself. Because sometimes what is up here does not translate down here. It just looks like a hot mess, and I'm like, well, no. That's the stuff y'all don't see, because a lot of times it just gets frogged or it just goes into the corner of the room where it remains a whip or a UFO for forever. Let's see. Miss Nancy said, I think it's time to clean out the wheels on my chair. It's not rolling smoothly. Mine never rolls smoothly, but that's because, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. I usually have too much stuff laying around the end of it, underneath it. Like I had a project back here, and I'm like, what am I? And I was like rolling on it. That's what happened with this yarn right here, too. I got hooked on the wheel. I was like, oh no. I thought I was going to have a big giant mess, but I was able to just lift it up before it got tangled around it. Okay, so there are my 4 rows of Suzette. Now we're going to chain 1 turn and then do 2 rows of single crochet. And I didn't even tell y'all, so if you weren't here last week, this yarn that I'm using is called Bitty Stripes. It's the Red Heart Super Saver Bitty Stripes, and this one is in the color Crayon Box. And for this particular Crochet Jericho, I'm going to use just this one color of yarn for each and every block. So I'm just doing it in 2 colors. However, since this one has all the colors, it's going to be very colorful. And then instead of using a neutral light color, I'm using black for the mortar. Just to try something different. Now, I did test this out using a solid color. I know last week we had discussed that. The solid, I think it's because of the way I did the stitch pattern. You really can't see the blocks very well. So I really do think a two colors minimum is the way to go. Now I do have some Red Heart, what is that called? Super Soft, I think is what it's called, or Soft and Sleek is what it's at Hobby Lobby. But it's got a bit of a shine on it, or a sheen. So I think it would show the stitch definition better than just a regular Red Heart. So it will probably show the blocks better. So I may give it one more try using that, but the only benefit to doing that way is that you could just use one skein and you'd have to use more than one skein, but you wouldn't have to do a lot of color changes. You just change your stitches. But I still think the blocks would be very subtle. Okay, so there's the last one. Let me cut this right here. Alrighty. And that's what we got so far with this one. Let me zoom us back out. I got to zoom us in to zoom us out. Okay. See that there. That's what it's looking like. So we got the large rectangle. And see how this bitty stripe is making bitty stripes? If y'all can't understand my southern drawl, that's what it is. Bitty stripes. And it's all the colors. And it's called Crayon Box. Where's it at? There it is. It's really pretty. I bought this back from Yarn Inspirations. They had a sale. And I just finally decided I would use it. But I thought it would look really good with this black and cause it to pop. Make all the colors really pop. You could use white if you wanted. Because it does have white. Because it's not a solid. So it does have a little bit of white running through it. And then there's the square. And then we move into another large rectangle. And there's the small rectangle and the square that we did tonight. And let's see. Okay, in there. That's, let me see if I can get it all lined up here. So you can see here where this black is just a little bit wider. But like I said, it's not, once you add the mortar row, that's going to fix those like little bit of tension differences. Or if your yarn is just a tiny bit thicker. Because even though these are both red heart, this black is stiffer than this bitty stripe. This bitty stripe is very, I won't say it's like the softest yarn, but it's softer than you would typically think of when you think of Red Heart Super Saver. But that's gonna, once you do the mortar row, that's gonna help even all of that out. So don't stress it, y'all, if it's a little bit, because like here we got it, like down here I've got it even, and you can see here it's a little bit wider up here. That's okay. Like I said, the once you start doing the mortar row, it's gonna help it all. It's gonna help it all lay flat, and then also when you do your border. Now, if you lay it out and it's looking like this, then that's not going to be fixable. That is probably going to be added to me stitches. So if it's at that much space, it's probably need to check your stitch count, but y'all know what I mean. Let's see here. Miss Nancy said she painted a crayon on a piece of 2x4 today. She did. I saw her short. It's really, it turned out cute. All right, let's set this over there. And here is the, I'll put it right here for a little bit, but see how that's, you can see how the single crochets create these little rectangles within the large rectangle. But it gives us that texture, so it gives a quilted vibe. That's what I was going for. I wanted it to look quilted, but not quilted. You know what I'm saying? So this is my Scrappy one that's got all the colors. But let me grab, well, I can show you this one. This one I was making for another friend. She doesn't know that it was being made for her, so eventually she'll get it and she'll be surprised. So this is in Carolina Gamecock colors. So we've got this is called Claret. This is also Red Heart Super Saver. Claret, and then gray, and then black. Good night, Mom. So this is just a 3-color one that I'm doing. And it's been in timeout for a while because, let me move this. Not for anything that it did. It's in timeout because I think I was going to do each of the large rectangles in the Claret, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to frog this section back. I know, several hours worth of work, but like I said, it's been in timeout long enough for me to decide if I wanted to keep going with it. But I think what I'm going to do is do large rectangle and the Claret, small black. Then on row 2, I'm going to do, or this will be part 3, I'm going to do this one in black and then do the small in the Claret burgundy. And then that way it offsets. So then all of them, you know what I'm saying? That way it's not all, I just think it'll look better that way. I don't know. I'm going to play around with it. I'm going to drop it into my, I think I'm going to drop it into my, before I frog it, I will drop it into the pattern maker that I have for cross stitch and see what it looks like. Because I can fill in all the little squares quickly and see if I like it before I decide to completely frog it, because it may stay just like this, but in my mind I'm thinking I'm going to switch them off, but I will test it out first. Okay, so let me grab the blanket. Hey, Miss Aisha, welcome in. How are you tonight? Sorry for the crinkling, y'all. Let me show you this. Y'all remember these bags that I bought from Amazon several months ago? Perfect size for a blanket. You can keep all of your yarn in there for your entire project and plenty of room for the blanket as it grows. So here's the blanket. Here's what it looks like. Eventually this will go off to its new home, but that is what it looks like. And then here's what the border. So part 5 is what will be coming out next. Hopefully I'll have it ready to come out on Monday. But so the border is going to be the same stitch sequence as your small rectangle in your mortar row. And then you're going to add 2 rounds. So what I did was I chose the periwinkle to go all the way around as solid, all the way around, complete last row. But then this row here, there's 2 rows here. So this one, I used the other 4 colors that I had used for my color blocks. So I used 1 row on one side, or 1 color on one side, a different color on the other, so that I used all the colors. So you can see it here. So here I have the peachy color, and this one I used the mint. So that's the blanket. That's how it turned out. If y'all haven't seen the videos that I've shown of it, I do have a short where I show like how it is in all its crocheted glory. And also, my zip it bag's so tiny doesn't get in here and lay on it, because that's his favorite thing to do, is to lay on my projects. But let me flip the camera back around. Give me just a second here. We'll turn you off. Turn you off. Switch. As Kimberly said, we got some ads. And turn the camera back on. Hello, hello. Nancy said, I want to get some of those bags. Yeah, and they were very inexpensive, and they're huge. Absolutely huge. Here, I'll show you. Because I showed, look, they're giant tote bags, and they're clear. So I've got several of these blankets going, so I can see which one it is. This one's done. It just has all my extra yarn, because I did buy 2 of every colored skein, and then I bought 6 of the linen, because I wanted to make sure that I had enough yarn to finish it. It's holding up really good. This bag has been with me. It went with me to when we went to South Carolina to visit my brother. It went with me. It was in the car. It had other stuff packed in, because I needed to, like, I bought stuff while I was there, so I shoved it all down in there. So it's been stuffed to the gills with other stuff, and it's held up really well. It doesn't have any rips or tears or anything like that. And I don't know, when I showed this, it's on the wrong side. I don't know if y'all can see it, but it's got a little pocket here. So if you wanted to put a bunch of stuff and stack them in a closet or something, it's got a little pocket here, so you can label it. Put what, you can put what, you can write on it what's in it. What did I do with it? There it is. So if you missed it at the beginning, here's the colorful one. This is the Scrappy one. Turn it over here. And there's our little rectangle that we made today. There's a little small rectangle. And then I've got this blue here, some bluebell, that I'm going to stick in there. It'll probably go there. Wait, what's next? No, it won't. This one will have to be a square, because I don't have enough of this for a long rectangle. Not in this little swatch. Kimberly said, those bags do look awesome. And I got them off of Amazon, and I think I got 6. Kimberly says, I love how different each one is. And yes, they are different. Very different. Okay, so these 2 are in the blanket. Now this here is the Red Heart Super Saver Ombre. It was what I had left over after I made the what color was it? Sand, I think is what it was called. But I made a hat and a neck warmer in it. So that's what that is. And that's what this is right here. I think that's it. No, I'll take that back. It's not that one. It is. Maybe it is. Maybe it is that one. No, it's this one. Down here. But, where's my... Right here. I'm trying to get it all backwards, but I'm all backwards. But so it makes it look like this. I changed, but I didn't. It was just the ombre. And then there's the green one. So here's the green, and it goes into that green. But all the colors of my Scrappy. And then this one is like a baby blanket color. So it's got like pastel pink and yellow and green. Kimberly said that Scrappy one is like a memory album. Yes, because I know like little bits and pieces of what everything. So like if you've made a bunch of projects and you have your little scraps, some of the balls are, some of the skeins, I had a lot left over and some I don't. Like this one I had quite a bit left. So of the one that looks like a baby color. So I'll keep going on it and see how big it gets or how much yarn I have out of my scraps. And then I may have to grab some of my little one skeins or my little mini skeins or something to finish it up. But as of right now, I still have plenty of scraps left to go through. It can also be a good stash buster if you have, you could separate out your light colors and your dark colors and do it however you want to. All right, y'all. There we go. I'm going to put that right there. And I have gone over because I was sitting here yapping, wasn't paying attention to the time. But it's all good because we're all sitting here chit-chatting and having a good time, right? Has anybody got any questions for me before we head out? And did anybody toss out a song? I asked y'all for that, and then I don't remember seeing anything in the chat. And it could just be that I missed it. So if you missed that question and you're still here and you want to toss out a song, let me grab something to write on. Here it is. Okay, so songs would y'all like me to attempt, to do a short to? It's not me going to be singing it. It's going to be me trying to come up with a funny little saying. What I'm doing is like point of view and then telling you what it is. And then lip syncing to a part of a song. Kimberly says 9 to 5. Oh, love me some Dolly. Okay. And some of them might be craft related. Some of them might just be something totally random. Let's see. Granny D says, so good hanging out with you. Have a lovely sleep and day tomorrow. Kimberly said, is that challenging enough? 9 to 5? What do you mean? Challenging to lip sync it? Or challenging to know all the words? I know all the words to that one because when I took piano lessons, I learned how to play 9 to 5. I know the words to that one. I was doing Devil Went Down to Georgia today. But I was trying to figure out what point of view would go with that song. You know what I'm saying? So what we're talking about, for those that missed it earlier, I did a short, and it was the point of view was when somebody tells you you have too much yarn, and the song is Meghan Trainor's I know you lie because your lips are moving. So that kind of thing. You got enough yarn. You lie. Oh, I could have done Reba McEntire's You Lie. Let's see. Susan said, glad I made it here. Have a good night. Take care. Hugs and love. Thank you, Miss Susan. But I was trying to come up with different songs that I could use to make little shorts like that. I see that a lot over on that other platform, the clock one, TikTok. And there's a few here on YouTube. So depending upon where I can find the song, like Lips Are Moving wasn't available on the other platform, but it was available on YouTube. So I was able to do it here. And maybe, I think Instagram also had it. So I was able to do it on both of those, I think. maybe. I may not have redid the one over there. But anyway. But, so. But trying to come up with a different song. And usually it's when I'm driving home in the afternoons and I'll hear a song. And I'll be like, oh, I could do this with that. That's how the one the other day, because it came on the radio when I was driving home or when I was at lunch. And so as soon as I got back to work, I had to like write it down and get it ready. Because if I came home, I would have thought about 1,000 other things and I would have never remembered that. So, y'all know how it is. You know how it is. All right, y'all. I am going to get going and get back to editing so I can finish up part 5. And then that will be the Crocheted Jericho tutorials will all be done. Like I said, I do have a playlist. Pretty sure I linked it in the description box below. I also have been writing up the pattern and putting it on my website as I release the tutorials. So if y'all want to check that out, since it's join as you go, it's hard for me to put into words how I was joining it. So I tried my best to do that because I know like with Happily Stained, I've had a lot of people asking me for a written pattern. I don't have one for that one yet, but I'm going to try to get it written up because I've had so many people ask for it that I really want to try to give y'all what you're asking for. So I'm going to write that one up and eventually it will be on the website as well. And then I may also potentially put it into a PDF and upload it onto Etsy and or Ravelry so that you can purchase it as a ad-free PDF. But right now it's for free. You know, as long as you can. I don't have a whole lot of ads on the website. There are a few, and it depends upon your layout as to how many, like where the ads pop in at. But most of them are just like the banner ads. But so hopefully you can get the gist of the got people coming in. Hey, Miss Jen Reeves. She said, Joy Raid, hi. Oh, Angel says Neon Moon. Oh, I like that song. Neon Moon. And I'm also going to write up the pattern for, what was the other blanket I did? Snow Day, the Snow Day blanket. I'm going to try to write that pattern up as well and get it on the website and then also turn it into PDFs. Those are on my to-do list. I don't know if it's going to happen. Hopefully, I'm going to get those done in September. But for right now, I'm still focusing on the Crocheted Jericho, which the response to it has been overwhelmingly positive, like shockingly so. So thank y'all so very much to everybody that has watched that video. It was crazy. It's been crazy the way it has taken off. So thank y'all so very much because without y'all watching it, it wouldn't be where it's at. So thank y'all, thank y'all, thank you. And Miss Jen was saying hey to everybody. And I saw Miss Jen over at the Hobby Trivia. I had to set a timer for that one because I or not a timer, a reminder because I saw it last night that it was going to happen. And so I was like, y'all, I need a reminder to tell me that because I will never remember to turn it on. And they played several games and I was right in the middle of a phone call when it came on. So I was late before I turned it on. So I got in on, I guess, I don't know, it was like game 2 or 3. I don't know. And I was like, I didn't even pay attention to where I was ranked. And Jen was like, look at you, 11th place. So, but that one was easy, or not easy, but it was like stuff that I could calculate up pretty quickly, like in my head. Whereas the other ones, like the very next game, I don't think I got anything right at all. I think I got everything wrong because it was like stuff that I had no clue of. Like what year was Crochet Magazine? Oh no, what was it? The Penelope Magazine or something. They first mentioned the term crochet. I don't know. So I got that one wrong. And then there were other things that was like, how many hosts have there been of Hobie Bingo and stuff like that I just didn't know the answers to. So I just guessed. So Jen says, yeah, I didn't have a clue on that stuff. No clue. But like when it was like yards to meters, that I could figure out pretty quick, and like, but yeah, the other, nope. Jen said she hadn't been able to make it there in a long time. See, I haven't. That today, that was the first. I don't know why it has never popped up on my YouTube. Or maybe I saw it on Facebook. I don't know where I saw it at first, but I've never paid attention to them doing like a little trivia thing on YouTube. I've seen like their other lives that they do on Facebook and stuff, but I had not seen them or doing one on YouTube. So now, if y'all missed it, go find Hobby on YouTube, HOBBII, like their channel, and they do fun stuff over on their YouTube channel too. So, and Miss Samantha's saying said hey to me, and people saying hey to her. And I think I said hi to you. If I didn't, I'm sorry. So hello, Miss Samantha. I think I did though. I know I did at the beginning of the live. I'm pretty sure I did because you had already come in and said hello. Let's see. Scrolling back up to make sure I didn't miss any of the songs. For those that are coming in, I was just asking for songs that I could use to lip sync to like say a little point of views. And I should have wrote down, oh, I know what it was. Write this one down. See, I told y'all it's stuff that I hear in the car, and it just dawned on me because I didn't write it down, didn't do anything with it. Complicated. But I have an idea to do with that one, but it would be one where I'd have to be doing it sitting here or in the craft room or at home where I have access to the props that I want to use for that one. Hey, Miss Rachel. She said, I hope everyone is having a good day. I am having a good day. Getting ready to hop off of here and go get me a little snack and get back to editing. All right, if nobody has anything else, I guess we're going to head out. And I think that's it for me. I was trying to think if there was anything else I needed to let y'all know about, but I think that's about it. Get over here to where my media assets are. There it is. All right, y'all. Thanks y'all so much for coming and hanging out with me tonight. I hope y'all have a fantastic weekend. Be safe. Have fun. And I will see y'all in the next video. So remember, be creative. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye.